Hey, what's going on, everybody? Mike Knowles here, and today I found something great on, well, let's just say the news.yahoo.com. It's called the Frozen Gay Conspiracy Theory. Yes, the movie Frozen, which I'm sure you all know, apparently is gay. So, about 7 hours ago, Caitlin Dixon of the Daily Beast published this. Now, don't go hating on her. What think the person probably want to be hating on is Kathyrn, Skaggs, who is apparently a well-behaved Mormon woman. She puts that anyway. The story goes like this from the Daily Beast. Like I said, I found this on news.yahoo.com. The story goes. I'm gonna read it to you now. Be warned, my storytelling ability is bad, and I don't pronounce words well. So if I struggle on a word, just bear with me. Hopefully you'll get it. Alright, so the story is called The Frozen Gay Conspiracy Theory. It goes. Frozen might just be a most talked about kids movie since Toy Story. But it's not all accolades and awards for the Oscar-winning animated flick. There is fear campaigning mounting against the film, warning conservative parents and grandparents to keep their impressionable young children away from what some believe is a musical advertisement for a gay agenda. It seems to have started with Kathyrn Skaggs, who accordingly to the title of her blog is called A Well-Behaved Mormon Woman. Now that right there should tell you something. After being dragged against her will 3 different times by 3 sets of grandchildren to see Frozen, Skaggs couldn't let it go any longer. After the 3rd viewing, she was convinced this beloved movie, with its top-notch animation and catchy theme songs such as "Let It Go," doesn't just have a homosexual undertones, but it's 108 minutes of pure gay propaganda. Now, I'm gonna pause right there and let you all know I've seen Frozen. I have the movie Frozen. I've seen it, and I've not only seen it, I know the words to Let It Go. And I sing them. Not very well, but I sing them. But anyway, she goes on to say, it's apparent that the best talent with the industry, that the very best talent within the industry was called upon for every facet of producing and bringing Frozen to the big screen. Illustrators, animators, writers, composers, singing artists, actors, etc. in order to woo the intended audience parents into a frozen state, which would then allow liberalism to indoctrinate children. Skaggs wrote in a lengthy blog post last month. Okay. But most reactions to Skaggs claim that the evil geniuses at Disney have duped Christian parents across the country into allowing Frozen to brainwash their children and supporting the normalization of same-sex behavior. Or worse, turn them gay. This is hilarious. They have been although her post may have been criticized, dismissed, and mocked, which I'm doing right now, in the internet over, yet as often is the case with outrageous politically charged conspiracy theories, someone was bound to bite. Now, there's someone I'll mention later. If I was the devil, what would I really do to foul up an entire social system of doing something really, really evil to 5, 6, and 7-year-olds and Christian families around America? Pastor and right-wing radio host Kevin Swanson asked on his show Monday. I would buy Disney. He continued. I would buy Disney. I wonder if people are thinking, I think this cute little movie is going to indoctrinate my 5-year-old to be a lesbian or treat homosexuality or bestiality, which I really don't see bestiality in this movie at all, but these people are weird anyway, in a light sort of way. I wonder if the average parent going to see Frozen is thinking that way. Chances are they're not. This is just what they're saying. I've seen the movie. I even am going to buy the movie. This movie is, without a doubt, probably the best movie ever made by Disney, and I'll say to that fact, besides the Fast and the Furious franchise, this movie is pretty awesome. I wonder if they're just saying, yeah, let's get my 5 and 7-year-old indoctrinated early. They're not. I think for most part they're oblivious. Maybe they do pick up on pieces of it, but they just don't get up and walk out. Like Skaggs, neither Swanson nor his co-host Steve Vaughn offer much in the way of specific examples of lines, scenes, or even themes of the movie to prove their point. In fact, the only proof of gay messaging Skaggs and Swanson provide in the suggestion of main character Elsa, who has the magic power of fire and ice. If y'all haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, is a metaphor for homosexuality. Now, right there, I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, what? Because that just doesn't make any sense. It's not a metaphor for homosexuality. She controls fire, snow and ice and frozen stuff. I don't see how it's a metaphor for homosexuality. Anyway, Elsa's non-magical sister Anna's shotgun wedding to someone she barely knows is meant to illustrate how heterosexuals diminish marriage. Now that right there just says I'm really confused. And of course, the happy ending where Elsa's family and community finally accept her for who she is and sends a message that gays are not the problem, but rather society's the problem for rejecting them. There's just nothing to say. The National Catholic Register with Stephen Granados, who actually questioned Frozen's gayness back in January, not only saw the rejected Elsa as a sign for opposed gay people, he also points out that Elsa, unlike her boy-crazy sister, shows no interest in dating, so she clearly is a lesbian. No, she's afraid that she's going to freeze the person she falls in love with. That's why she doesn't dance, because she's afraid she'll freeze them. She has the power of ice and snow. Anyway, if that's not enough, following the closing credits, Elsa's giant male-voiced snow monster, again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie yet, wandering through her abandoned ice palace that she creates, again, sorry, spoiler alert, picks up her abandoned tiara and places it daintily on his head. I mean, right there, who cares? Daintily on his head. Where was I? The abandoned palace picks up and places it daintily on his head, smiling and discovers its true inner princess. He could be a king. Yeah, it's a tiara. Big deal. Disney has a long history of fielding accusations of using its children's movies to advance a liberal agenda or another, whether it's gay rights, environmentalism, or socialism. However, seems to be something about Frozen that has attracted more than an unusual amount of controversy for a kids' cartoon. Frozen is a feminist movie, claim some critics, because of neither of its female protagonists are rescued by a handsome prince in the end, but rather they save themselves. So Frozen is not so feminist. Others argue because Elsa's climactic coming out, if you will, includes an arguably sexy makeover. Okay? Others still took the time to call Frozen racist, accusing Disney of whitewashing the indigenous people of Scandinavia, where the animated film was supposedly took place. And this was all before John Travolta epically flubbed singer Idina Menzel's name, created a fictional person of Adele Nazim, I believe that's what he called it, and immediately overplayed meme at the Academy Awards, which I saw. Thought I didn't catch it at first, but I did the next day. Those fearing Frozen the homosexual agendas might want to consider the agendas of its critics. Kevin Swanson, for example, declared that the decadent homosexual activity, marijuana legalization, and abortion rights were to blame for the floods that devastated Colorado last summer. And despite insisting in her Frozen posts that she is not anti-gay nor here to judge homosexuals, Kathyrn Skaggs has dedicated a large number of her blog posts in advocating for traditional marriage. Then again, if you're not legitimately concerned about a Disney movie turning your children gay, you might be just the choir Swanson and Skaggs are preaching to. Now, there are a number of things I could say about this, and there are a number of things that y'all could say about this. The fact of the matter is, I don't care about anything that person has put on, that Kathyrn Skaggs or Swanson, whatever his name was, that they put. I don't really care at all. The gay people and lesbian community of the world, I should say, doesn't bother me. Let them do what they want to do. I'm not anti-gay. I've never been anti-gay. I have friends who are gay. 3 of which, in fact, but that's not the point. I have a gay friend and I have like 2 lesbian friends. And they'll probably see this post and award it or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, don't judge a Disney movie. Let's make that very clear. Disney. Walt Disney. Same guy who brought you Mary Poppins, Little Mermaid, the Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, A Sword in the Stone, and a whole bunch of others that my mom has in her cabinet over there. Don't judge these movies. Because if you start judging those movies, well, who's to say that you won't stop at Disney? You might just destroy Pixar. Now, yes, Pixar and Disney are 2 separate companies, this I've heard. But, just so you know, just because Kathyrn Skaggs has put these things online, doesn't mean that Frozen will go up in popularity less. Kids will still like Frozen. And yes, it's true, since that movie came out, I have had Let It Go in my head since it came out. Because, frankly, it's catchy. Sue me. But don't underestimate Disney's power. Mike Knowles out.